In 30 years of appliance repair, I have pulled apart more washing machines than I can count, and I can tell you exactly when the job changed. It changed when the manufacturers stopped building machines that were worth fixing and started building machines that were worth replacing. The mechanical timer became a control board. The simple motor became a sensor network. The $30 repair became a $400 diagnostic. 5 washer families never made that trade. The Kenmore 80 and 90 series, Whirlpool Direct Drive, Maytag Dependable Care, Speed Queen Classic top loaders, and GE Filter-Flo. Here is what set them apart. The first name on this list is Kenmore, specifically the Kenmore 80 series, the Kenmore 90 series, and the 1990s Kenmore Elite machines. The stigma has always been the same. Kenmore is not a real brand. It is a Sears label applied to machines built by other manufacturers. And that stigma is technically correct. But here is the mechanic's truth. It is completely beside the point. I had a client, a woman named Carol, who brought me her 1997 Kenmore Elite for a routine checkup last year. No control boards, nearly 30 years of weekly use. Her total repair bill outside of maintenance had been essentially nothing. Her neighbor had cycled through 3 machines in the same period. Carol had not replaced hers because there had been no reason to. You can find a clean Kenmore 80 or 90 series for under $400 in most markets, and if the machine is solid, that is one of the best appliance purchases you can make. When people praise an old Kenmore, they are often praising Whirlpool engineering without realizing it. Many of the most trusted Kenmore washers from this era were built on Whirlpool's platform. That matters because the platform is the real story, and the platform deserves its own entry. Number 2 is the Whirlpool Direct Drive top loader. This is the mechanical system underneath many of those old Kenmore machines, and it is the reason the repair logic works so cleanly. The Whirlpool Direct Drive did not use a belt. It used a direct couple system, a 3-piece motor coupling assembly, a set of hard plastic components that transferred power from the motor to the transmission without a belt in the loop. That design had one well-known failure point. The coupler could wear down and eventually break. Here is why that failure was not a catastrophe. It was visible. It made a specific sound. A technician or an owner with a basic toolkit and a Saturday morning could pull the machine, find the worn coupler, and replace it for $10 to $20 in parts. You are not buying a complicated appliance when you buy a Whirlpool Direct Drive. You are buying a mechanical platform designed around the assumption that it would be serviced and kept. Here is the insider check for both of these platforms. When you find a machine, run it through a full cycle and listen. A failing coupler produces a specific grinding or slipping sound during agitation. Check the cabinet seams and the lid hinge for rust, because surface rust is cosmetic, but frame rust is a deal breaker. And ask the seller whether the machine has been sitting unused. A machine that ran last week is worth more than one that sat in a garage for 3 years, regardless of what it looks like. But if the Whirlpool Direct Drive was the mechanic's machine, the Maytag Dependable Care was the machine the mechanic called his parents to buy. Number 3 is the Maytag Dependable Care. Not every Maytag, which is a brand name that has passed through enough ownership changes to mean very little on its own. The machines worth understanding are the older Dependable Care models and the Newton-era Maytags that earned the reputation before the industry consolidated. The Maytag Dependable Care reputation was not built on being impossible to break. It was built on being too good to throw away. I have seen the same dynamic in my own shop. An owner comes in with a 20-year-old Maytag Dependable Care, a repair quote is sitting on the table, and repair people who see machines fail every single day still say fix it. That is repairman trust. It is the judgment of people who know what a bad machine looks like and still recommend keeping the old one. The insider check. Look for a mechanical timer. A physical dial, not a touchpad. If it has that, you are in the right era. Run a spin cycle and listen for excessive vibration. Worn suspension rods are a $30 fix. A mechanical timer and a solid cabinet is all you need to find. Number 4 is Speed Queen, not a restoration project and not a vintage machine. Speed Queen is the modern survivor of the old school washer idea, the one major brand that looked at the direction the industry was moving and decided not to follow. The buyers who seek Speed Queen out are tired. They are tired of lid locks, water level limits, error codes that require a proprietary tool to decode, and repair estimates that take weeks to schedule. Speed Queen's current TC5 top loader promotes classic clean, no lid lock, and a 5-year warranty. Those are not marketing points. They are a position. Speed Queen became the last major name people reached for when they wanted a new machine with old machine instincts. The insider check here is the simplest on this list. Visit a Speed Queen dealer and ask to run the machine through a cycle. No computer required to diagnose it. If you are buying used, stick to machines under 10 years old with verified service records. Parts are available, the company still supports its machines, and a well-maintained Speed Queen can be had used for $400 to $600. That is a different cost equation than buying a new machine with a 2-year warranty and a $500 diagnostic if the board fails. But if Speed Queen represents the idea surviving into the present, the GE Filter-Flo represents the idea at its most visible. Number 5 is the GE Filter-Flo, used on 1993 and earlier GE models. The Filter-Flo system placed a filter pan on top of the agitator. As the machine ran, water circulated through that pan, trapping lint, hair, and fine particles before they could redeposit on the clothes. The mechanism was simple, and unlike almost everything in a modern laundry room, you could watch it work. GE Filter-Flo belonged to an era when the machine showed you what it was doing. The lint pan was right there. The agitator was turning. The water was moving. You did not need a service manual to understand the process. That transparency was not a design accident. It was the result of building a machine expected to be understood, maintained, and kept. The insider check. Look for a machine with minimal cabinet rust and a filter pan that moves freely. A working Filter-Flo in clean condition can be found for under $200, and the repair path is as simple as the machine itself. Now here is the real point. The 5 names are not the secret. Kenmore 80 and 90 series, Whirlpool Direct Drive Maytag, Dependable Care, Speed Queen, GE Filter-Flo, 5 different brands, 5 different eras, one shared design philosophy, mechanical timers, real agitators, motors a repair person could understand without a laptop, serviceable pumps, replaceable couplers, repair paths that made financial sense. These were not luxury features. They were the baseline expectation of a machine built to be kept. Modern appliances did not just become more advanced. They became harder to trust. The diagnostic process became expensive. The parts became proprietary. And the repair estimate started arriving at a number close enough to the replacement cost that throwing the machine away began to look like the rational choice. The secret was never that these machines were magical. The secret was that they were repairable. Owners were not forced into a total replacement decision every time something went wrong. The machine could be opened, the problem could be found, the fix could be priced, and the washer could keep running. Repair was the expected outcome, not the expensive exception. The machine lasted because keeping it made sense. That is why people still talk about these 5 families as if they came from a different industrial world, because they did.